Hi, 8th grade. It's Mrs. Phillips. This is Charlie. Charlie, say hi. Say hi. That's his toy. It's like as big as he is. This is what Charlie does all day. He's waiting by the front door for the UPS man so he can, attack. He's so vicious. Anyway, I wanted to shift my focus over to your last assignment for me, which is going to be a one-pager on night. I'm going to kind of go through some instructions in this video and then show you my one-pager, and I will talk you through everything. So, materials that you will need this one-pager packet. It is posted on Edsby. You do not have to print this packet. You can totally just download it and be working on the packet on your computer. I printed it just for the purpose of the video. You're also going to want some markers or crayons or colored pencils or whatever you have that can have some color in it. I have a pencil, I used a pen, and I had I found a thin, sharp marker that I used as well. You will need a copy of Night, which you have on your computer that you've been reading from. So I have my version of Night, but you can just use the one on Edsby. And then also you will need either a sheet of notebook paper, notebook is fine, or copy paper is also okay. Either one totally works for this assignment. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this one-pager directions, which again is posted on Edsby. So what is a one-pager? So I'm reading from right here. A one-pager is a way of responding to a piece of literature using a single sheet of paper. It represents your own written and graphic interpretation of what you've read. It may be literal, just based on facts or information, or it may be a symbolic representation of the piece. It helps you as a reader to visualize what you've read. So one-pager is really just a great way to artistically put your thoughts of the novel onto a sheet of paper. So the first thing you're going to do after reading a one-pager is you're going to complete the PreWrite. Now the PreWrite is on page 3 of the attachment, okay? And this whole assignment is going to be worth 100 points in the gradebook. The PreWrite is 20 of those 100 points. So the first thing you're going to do is scroll or print or download, however you want, and you're going to look at page 3 and you're going to complete the PreWrite. So this is all about Night. So the first thing you're going to do is give 1 to 2 sentences, a summary or recap of the novel. Then you're going to give me 2 connections that you can make with the story. You guys kind of already did that with your reflection piece that you turned in last week. It was kind of question number 2. And also unanswered questions that you may have. Maybe there was a part that you don't understand or questions that you still have from the author. Again, you kind of already wrote one of those questions down on your reflection, so you just need one more. The prediction, what do you think would happen if a sequel was written? So if Elie Wiesel was to write a second book, which he did, what would you think would be in that second story? You need a reflection. Overall, what did you think of the book with an explanation? Then you need 2 significant quotes from the novel. So think back to the novel. What were some quotes that stood out to you? If you need help finding the quotes, you can always Edsby message me and I'll kind of tell you what page numbers those quotes were on. Okay, so 2 quotes from the novel and their page numbers, please. Okay, and then because this is an artistic way to show your understanding of the novel, this is what I want you to do. I want you to list down 3 important scenes from the novel. 3, okay? What were your thoughts on them? And list the page numbers down. Now, after you've listed 3, circle, in your opinion, the best scene to illustrate. So you don't have to write or draw all 3. Pick one, and this will become your illustration. Now, your quotes do not need to match the scene. Let me repeat that. Your quotes do not need to match the scene. Mine don't, okay? You can if you want. That's totally up to you, but they do not need to. So once you've completed now the PreWrite, all of this will artistically go into your one-pager, okay? So I'm going to show you what mine looks like kind of as an example. So this was my PreWrite. Now my PreWrite looks a little different with the lines down here than this one because I changed it around a little bit, but I completed my PreWrite. So here's my summary, okay? and I will post pictures of this on Etsy so you can always see them. I'm not going to waste your time in a video. These are my 2 connections. These are my questions. This is my prediction. This is my reflection. These are my 2 quotes with their page numbers. And then these were my important scenes from the novel, and I put their page numbers on here. So here's the deal. 3 important scenes that I thought from the novel were Elie Wiesel taking the boxcar to Auschwitz, and that's kind of chapter 2, but it's page 23 when they get on the boxcar. Number 2 was when he was separated from his mother and sisters through the first selection on page 29. And then also I thought something that was really interesting or an important piece was when his father dies on page 112. So those were 3 important scenes I thought from the novel. Now I'm looking at all 3 of these, and you guys know that I am not an artist. So for me, number 2 and 3, there was kind of no way that I knew that I could draw this out. So for me, I chose the boxcar to Auschwitz because it was kind of the easiest for me to illustrate. So I took all of this information, don't laugh at my drawing, and I put it here on my OnePager, all of my information. So this is my boxcar, okay? So that's my illustration. These are my 2 quotes. Over here I have my reflection, my prediction, my connections. I just bullet pointed both of them. My summary. Here are the 2 questions that I had for Elie Wiesel. And I also kind of chose to put up here, this was that infamous sign from Auschwitz that was posted in the front that was like, work makes one free. And then also in the top right-hand corner, I have the name of the novel, and it's written by Elie Wiesel. So this is my completed OnePager. I want to say from start to finish, I sat and did this last week. It took me an hour. So I'm asking an hour of your time for the next week and a half, okay? So you're going to submit this as 2 separate submit buttons, okay? First of all, this is the first submit, and it's going to be titled PreWrite, okay? And again, you can just download and type in what you want, or if you want to print it out, you can, or if you want to write it on your own sheet of paper, you can. And then the second thing that you're going to submit for me is the actual OnePager. And you're going to take a picture and you're going to put that in the submit button. And those 2 totaled together will equal 100 points in the grade book. Okay, so I want to go over quickly some considerations for you. And these are back on the first page of the document. So some considerations. You can use lined or unlined paper, but you have to fill the entire page. I don't want any white space. So after I wrote and did everything in marker and crayon, I actually went in and used a gray crayon to kind of color everything in. So I don't want there to be any white space, okay? Also, I don't want there to be pencil on the OnePager. So I drafted and did everything in pencil on my OnePager. Like all of this I did in pencil first. Then I went over it with marker and kind of went through and erased any of the other pencil lines that I saw. So no pencil should be visible, though I would definitely use it to kind of map out where you're going to put everything, okay? Include the title and the author of the piece, and I gave it to you here, Night by Elie Wiesel. And all items from the PreWrite, all items from this must be present on the OnePager, okay? So I even went so far as to label my items. And if you could do the same thing, it really helps me with grading. So I'm not kind of looking around and saying, okay, where is the connection here or where is the prediction? I labeled each of the different parts of the PreWrite. It just helps in the grading process. And I think it helps keep your OnePager more organized. So if you could do that, that would definitely be helpful, okay? And then I actually went back just to double check myself. On the second page of the document, there's actually a checklist here. So you can go down through the checklist and make sure everything was on the OnePager. And you could tell that I did that on my own as I went down the checklist. And I was like, okay, did I have the summary? Yes, check. Did I have the prediction? Yes, check. And I'm also using this as the rubric so you can see how many points everything is worth, okay? So those are some considerations to have. Remember that this is going to be 2 submit buttons. One is the PreWrite you will submit, and one is the actual OnePager that you will submit. These are the directions on how to submit. This is due on or before Wednesday, May 27th by 11 p.m. So again, this is the last assignment I'm pushing forward for you guys. Once you're done with this, you're done with language arts, unless you owe me missing work, and I will be catching up with those of you that I may need work from. But this is the last assignment, and both pieces are due on Wednesday, May 27th by 11 p.m. I'm not going to have, I'm not going to do any Zooms simply because this is something that you're working on creatively, but please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions about the OnePager, something that you want to add or do and you're not sure if it's okay. Whatever you have any questions, please make sure that you message me, okay? And again, this really just took an hour, and I just really kind of enjoyed sitting and coloring. It was kind of nice to just kind of do that and be creative about the novel. One last thing I want to say for non-artistic folks, you can absolutely use computer designed graphics. So you could do this if you wanted on a Word document and put everything there and be artistic about it, or maybe do a slide in PowerPoint. So you can absolutely use computer designed graphics, but you cannot use images from the book cover itself. So don't go Google Night book cover and insert something like this as your picture. The picture should be an illustration from an important scene in the book. So my boxcar is not great. I could have, and I actually looked up pictures of boxcars, and I could have printed one, or I could have imported it into a Word document, and then I could have used that picture as a boxcar instead. So it's totally up to you kind of how you want to create this. But again, no white space on this as a total, okay? So I hope you have fun with this. Again, please make sure you do the PreWrite first, and then take all of those pieces from the PreWrite and then add it into the OnePager, and then make sure again that you put in the title of the author, the title of the book and the author, because that's a way that kids like lose easy points with that. And again, don't